Today we are going to go over math lesson 10.2, and this one is called Read Picture Graphs. So the first page is 659, but I crossed off the front one here. So on page 660, a picture graph uses pictures to show data. So here we have number of soccer games, and then remember, picture graph uses a picture, so they used a soccer ball to show the information. So a key, not like a key you'd use to open your house door or turn on your car. This key tells how many each picture stands for. So if we look under the graph here, it says each soccer ball stands for one game. So in March, the number of soccer games there were, we know each soccer ball means one game. So in March, there were 4 games. In April, there were 3 games. In May, there were 6 games. And in June, there were 7 games because each soccer ball stands for one game. So down here, you're going to use this picture graph to answer the questions. So the title of our picture graph is Favorite Snack, and then the different snack options are pretzels, grapes, popcorn, and apples. And then remember, always check your key because that'll tell you how much each picture stands for. So this one says each smiley face stands for one child. So that means one child picked that snack. But then remember, each of those is one, so you count them up to figure out how many total children picked it. Number 1 says, which snack was chosen by the fewest children? So which of these snacks up here were picked by the least amount of kids? So of course it would be the one with the least amount of smiley faces. And then number 2 says, how many more children chose pretzels than apples? So you are going to compare the number of pretzels to the number of apples. And remember, when we're comparing two numbers to figure out how many more one has than the other, we subtract. All right, on the next side, I'm on page 661. The picture graph at the top is talking about number of pencils. So it says use the picture graph to answer the questions. So now we have people along the sides. We have Elena, Kiana, Dante, and Brad. And then remember, always check your key. Each pencil stands for one pencil. So it's telling us how many pencils each of these kids have. Number 3 says, how many pencils do Elena and Brad have? So they want you to figure out the total amount. If Brad and Elena put their pencils in a pile, how many pencils would they have all together? So we would want to add there. Number 4, how many more pencils does Kiana have than Elena has? So now we're comparing Kiana's pencils to Elena's pencils. So to figure out how many more someone has than the other person, we'd have to subtract. And then number 5, Mrs. Green has the same number of pencils as the 4 children. So how many pencils does she have? So if Mrs. Green has the same amount as these 4 children, we would have to add all of these pencils together to figure out how many total pencils Mrs. Green has, because she has the same amount as all of those kids have. So you'll add Elena, Kiana, Dante, and Brad's pencils all together to get your total. And number 6, you don't have to do, it's crossed up. All right, we are on to page 662. Up at the top, our picture graph is favorite balloon color. So we have green, blue, red, and purple. And then we always check our key, and our key says each balloon stands for one child. So number 7, which 3 colors were chosen by a total of 13 children? So you need to figure out what 3 colors, if we added them together, would give us 13, because that would mean 13 kids chose those 3 colors. So you might have to try a couple different combinations to get to 13, and then you'll write the 3 colors on that line that added up to a total of 13. Number 8, use the numbers on the tiles to complete the sentence about the picture graph. So they give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you'll use those numbers to complete the sentences down here. Our picture graph is number of pets. We have Scott, Andre, and Maddie. And our key says each diamond stands for one pet. So Scott has blank pets. Andre has blank fewer pets than Scott. So you're going to have to compare Andre's amount to Scott's amount. So remember, when we're comparing the two, we will subtract. And then Maddie and Scott have blank more pets than Andre. So to figure out that bottom one, you're going to have to first add together Maddie and Scott's number of pets. And then whatever total you get for those two, you are going to compare it to Andre's total. So after you add Maddie and Scott's together, you will then subtract Maddie and Scott's total and Andre's total to figure out how many more they have than Andre. All right. On to page 663. Use the picture graph to answer the questions. So we have number of books read, and then we have 4 kids on the side. We have Ryan, Gwen, Anna, and Henry. And if we check our key, it says each book stands for one book. So, number 1, how many books in all did Henry and Anna read? So they want to know the total amount Henry and Anna read, so you'll have to add their 2 amounts together. Number 2, how many more books did Ryan read than Gwen? So now you're comparing the two. You're comparing Ryan's amount to Gwen's amount, so you'll have to subtract. Number 3, how many fewer books did Gwen read than Anna? So you're comparing the two again, so you'll have to subtract on number 3. And then number 4, it says use the picture graph above, write or draw to explain. So you're still going to use this graph up here to answer number 4. It says Carlos read 4 books. So now they're throwing another student there. Carlos isn't up here, but they're telling you Carlos read 4 books. So Carlos read 4 books. How many children read fewer books than Carlos? So you figure out how many kids up here read less than 4 books, and tell me how many children read less than 4 books. So you won't put names here. You're going to put the amount of children that read less than 4 books. Then you don't need to do number 5. On to the back. It says use the picture graph, so now I'm on page 664. Number 1 says use the picture graph, who has the most fish? So it's our fish. We have Jane, Will, Gina, and Evan. And the key says each fish stands for one fish. So you're writing the name of the person who has the most fish. Number 2, what time is shown on this clock? Remember, your hour hand's your shorthand, your minute hand's your longhand. Number 3, each unit cube is about 1 centimeter long. What is the length of the paper clip? So I know we haven't talked about centimeters yet because we skipped ahead to chapter 10, but centimeters are on the other side of your ruler. They're just another form of measurement. So they're saying that each of these cubes is 1 centimeter long. So if each of these is about 1 centimeter long, how long would that paper clip be? And number 4, what is the total value of this group of coins? So you have a quarter, a nickel, and a penny. And remember, you'll write the same answer twice. They're just doing it 2 different ways. They're doing it with the cent sign, and then they're doing it with just writing the word cents. And that is lesson 10.2.